welcome to Banter Such. I'm Brando.
And I'm Owen.
And today we are talking about the best feel-good movies of all time!
Yes, because it's still part of the Jingle-Sember Spectacular.
Yes, all the feel-goods!
And it's the worst time of the year.
Christmas cheer time!
No, just a Grinch.
I am super into it, and Owen is super not. And it's just the two of us,
Yes,
baby.
these movies did not even warm my heart.
All right, let's get into some BS.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse.
Man, I love that intro song, that new one that we got.
Dude, it's awesome.
So Ricky Jab and Callie Roby, thank you again for allowing us to use that amazing cover song of Jingle Bell Rock. If you would like to get to know them better, their Instagrams will be in the show notes for this episode. Please check them out. Give them a follow. They do some great, amazing music.
Also, check out theheliosnetwork.com. That's our website.
Yep. Look at that.
I made it all by myself.
Yes, you did.
And I don't do that thing.
No
but
one,
I made
and that is why every single link leads to the Swords and Unicorns Instagram, right?
Well, the social media links do. But it's a real website.
It is.
And you can go see all of our shows, all of our other shows in the Helios Network. Obviously, Banter and Such is up
Yep.
there. You can listen. I embedded that stuff.
Yes, you
I
did.
learned how
Wow.
to do that.
Yeah.
It's fancy.
Look at you.
It's a template.
Learning to code.
I used a template. It was just, but you can check out other shows. You can check out our merch. We have pins. We have the shirts. We have all kinds of fun stuff. But it's theheliosnetwork.com. That link is also in the show notes.
Yes, and one of the cool things is you can go to every single one of the podcasts that's on the website, and you get to see a picture of all the hosts and a short, fun description of each one of us.
Yes.
If you ever wanted to know what Brando and I look like when we're not 8-bit,
Yeah.
you can see it for reals.
Yeah. Our show, our little short bios, not just mine and yours, but for like all of our
Everybody's,
hosts.
yeah.
Because I've kind of like pushed everyone. I was like, come on, man, give me something interesting.
And nobody did.
Don't just tell me. No, the Master and Debater
Debaters.
guys
Okay,
did.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
those
right.
guys are hilarious.
And if you'd like to support the Helios Network and Banter and Such, please check out our Patreon. The show link, the link to that is also in the show notes. It helps you support us and the Helios Network. Everything that we get from that, we pour right back into it to help out all our different podcasts on the network.
Yes, and now we are ready to get into the topic. It's the Jingle-Sember Spectacular.
Mhm.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
The most worst time of the year.
I'm a Hallmark movie. You are, I don't know what the equivalent
Just the
would be.
Grinch.
Yeah, just
It's
the
the
Grinch.
Grinch. Yeah. It's all you people and all your happiness makes me so angry. Like, what gives you the right
Well, and
to be this happy?
well, I get it because like the faux cheeriness is annoying. But the reason I love Christmas so much is because is what we're doing with this series is that it's such a cozy time of year.
Yeah.
And it is an uplifting kind of feel good time where like part of the spirit of Christmas is like positivity and uplifting and like, you know, you have all these positive messages in all these movies. And that's what we're doing today. That was the thinking. I was like, what movie, whether it's a Christmas movie or not, what are like the most feel good, uplifting movies?
Inspiring movies.
Yeah, like you watch them and they just make you feel great or they have a great message, you know, you come away like just feeling much better.
Yeah. And honestly, like these movies today are an interesting choice. And I liked two of them very much.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a third that I did not dislike as much as I disliked that.
Last week.
What was that movie that you made me watch?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, the old people orgy movie.
Well, it wasn't an old people orgy. That's why you didn't like it.
But yeah, let's get into it. So Brando, you are show running. You're heading this whole venture.
I made the list.
So if anybody hates any of this, they can personally write Brando
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you have all next week's episode.
I
It's
do.
all you.
Yes.
So.
And I cannot wait.
Okay, so according to Brando, the third most feel-good movie of all time is Paddington 2.
Yeah. This is the one that I did not like that much.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Look, it was fun.
Okay.
And it was enjoyable. It was inspiring. It did make my little heart Grinch grow maybe like an extra half size. But,
Okay, fair enough.
But it was one of those, if I never watched this movie again for the rest of my life, I would be okay with that.
Okay. See, that's funny because when we watched, what was the Nicolas Cage movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent?
They talk about this movie.
Well, they have a whole scene in it
Yeah.
where they sit down and watch Paddington 2 and they cry together and stuff. And I remember reading about, because it's almost like a meme at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, because I've read about it online. Like, everybody's talking about this movie. They're like, this is just, it's first of all, it's a sequel to a movie that you already wouldn't want. You think it's a kid's movie. You think what is this? This is one of those cheap, like, that movies they put out for kids to watch that they don't have to be good.
No.
And it's the sequel. It's number 2.
And that's the thing, too, is I haven't seen the first one.
Oh, no, I haven't either.
And so I literally Googled, do I need to see Paddington to watch Paddington 2? And I already knew what the answer was.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be this, like, am I going to watch and I have to, like, sit here? Because, like, I was playing a video game on one computer screen while I was watching Paddington 2 on the other computer screen.
Okay.
So
Was it like a particularly, like, violent video game?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Yeah, it was grounded and it was fun.
So it was wholesome and wholesome.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of this is you don't have to see the first one. It's well, in my opinion, it's way better than it has any business being. Like, it doesn't have to be good. You can just sell anything to kids almost, but this one is like, even as an adult, even if you don't have kids, I felt like it's just that feel good story. It's got Hugh Grant in it, who's like really over the top ridiculous.
Yes. I was very surprised that they were able to get Hugh Grant in on this, as well as Hugh Grant said that this is one of his favorite movies he's ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, and I think it's because of just how insane his character is.
Yeah, he's really over the top.
And I think, like, if I was an actor, I would also take that role because I think it would be a fun role to do.
Yeah.
Not because the movie's good, because it wasn't. But for that reason alone. So, Brando, for the people, because I'm going to guess maybe 2 of our listeners out of the millions that we have.
Oh, yeah.
The only 2 have seen Paddington.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. It's not the typical movie we talk about.
So give us the Brando explanation, plot, synopsis of this movie.
So there is a talking sentient bear that wears a coat and a hat that lives with a family in London.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what their living situation was. I couldn't figure that out. Maybe that's in the first movie. I was like, is he an exchange student? Was he adopted?
Yeah, let's pause this recording. Let's go watch the first one.
Let's not.
We'll get back into this.
I saw the second one. That's all I needed. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Because this movie's got to be really good for me to care about it. You know what I mean? And I was like, this one's good. If it's any less good, I'm not going to care about it. So, and I can see why you wouldn't. But anyway, so this bear lives in London with this family. Their family, there's this cute little London family, and he's got an aunt his aunt is a bear, and he wants to get her a gift, and she's always wanted to go to London, and he finds at this antique shop this pop-up book of London. He was like, this is the perfect book. Oh, wait, now I got to earn some money to buy it. And he's going and earning money. But then the villain, Hugh Grant, he realizes there's this book contains clues to like a treasure. And he wants to get the book so he can find the treasure. So he breaks in, steals the book. But Paddington tries to stop the robbery. But oh no, he gets blamed for the robbery.
Yes.
He goes to jail.
Yes.
So, I was like, whoa, okay, now we're in prison. But he's so adorable and likable that he completely converts the prisoner and all these hardcore prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're all like baking, dancing together because he's just so darn polite. Well, they break out of jail and he goes back and he ends up getting the book from the Hugh Grant. And Hugh Grant ends up finding the treasure, but and then of course it ends with this big set piece on these 2 trains, which by the way have 2 tracks side by side, which doesn't happen in the world.
It does not.
There's no reason for 2 train tracks to be parallel for that long.
Maybe in London.
Maybe
they drive on the other side of the road.
It's a British thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a British thing.
They got backup tracks. And it's like this big adventure thing where they're on the train, they're running around trying to get the book, and he's a villain, mustache twirling, and everything's right in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But the big thing is, why is it so feel good, and why is it so uplifting? Because it's all about kindness and being polite. That's the essence of Paddington, and the effect that he has on everyone around him. And it's adorable. It's just cute. You know,
it is. It really is. To get away from the Grinch bit, honestly, like while I was, I'll say just listening to this movie.
Okay,
Of my setup, I was watching it, but really listening. There was a couple times I found myself with just a smile on my face because I was like, "This movie is so dumb," and it is dumb.
No, I'm with you. Yeah,
it is dumb.
It's not trying to be realistic in
not
any
in any way, shape, or form. But it's one of those like so like happy dumb.
Yeah,
like you just can't help but like smile, and it's just like, oh, it's so cute.
When he
like a little puppy, like a little puppy dog is like puppy dogs are dumb.
Yes,
but they're so cute and adorable. You can't help but just love them and smile.
That's a perfect description of this movie. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's just happy.
But I did stop playing my video game and I did watch almost the entire prison sequence because I also couldn't believe that this movie, which is one of the most uplifting, inspirational movies of all time, according to Nicolas Cage, that there was a prison and like it's like a whole act, like a third of the movie, or more. He's in prison,
and clearly that's the standout of this whole movie. Every scene where he's in prison is that's the best part of the whole movie, and that's perfect with what you just said too, because there are these hardened criminals and they're all like rude to him and stuff, and it's almost kind of realistic for like a half second, you know what I mean? Where like he's gonna show up and he's all nice and polite, and these prisoners, they don't give a shit about anything. But like it doesn't matter. Like the worst one of it all is the cook, and he's making gruel for them all. Yeah. But Paddington, he makes
he's like, go up to Knuckles.
Yeah,
go up to Knuckles.
Knuckles.
Yeah, go up to Knuckles and tell him that his food's bad. He really likes to be critiqued.
Yeah.
And because it's Paddington, and he's a little gullible bear.
Yeah. And
he's like, okay. And he goes up, and it's what's his name? Gleason, right? Something Gleason.
It's Mad Eye Moody from the Harry Potter movies.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't know that.
I mean, I know who.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen the movies. That's why I know they're bad. And the whole entire Harry Potter universe is bad.
Well, and he's fantastic in this movie.
Yeah,
he's
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan
He's the
Gleeson,
cook. Yeah, he's Knuckles. And every single time, I love this guy. This actor, everything he's been in, he's always my favorite in the movie.
Yes.
I mean, like 28 Days Later.
Oh yeah,
he was in that.
He was
a dad. He was a dad in that.
Oh gosh, tragic.
What was the butcher? Gangs of New York.
Was he in that?
Yeah, he was in that too. Yeah.
I've seen that.
So he's just been in a bunch of stuff, and he's great.
He's fantastic.
And so it's like it's him. I'm like, yes, it's this. He's got griddle, and that's his character is always like the Knuckles type.
Yeah,
just gritty,
he's a tough
mean,
guy.
tough. Like he's huge, he's big. I think he's like literally like 6'6" in real life.
Yeah, he's a tall guy and he's broad. Yeah,
and it's just like yelling. I was like, oh my god, please punch this bear, please, like bring this movie down a couple pegs.
Yeah,
my Grinch heart can't take how happy it's becoming.
It didn't happen though. Like he made a marmalade sandwich for Knuckles. And Knuckles was like, this is the best tasting thing I've ever had. Can you make this? And so they start making food together, but they're like baking together and they're making like high quality food, and they transform the prison into like a nice restaurant.
He's like, yeah, oh, could you make something else? And they're like, I was just like, oh, I know how to make fudge. I know how to make like a British pie. And like all this stuff was like, oh, and then eventually it's like, oh, now, so what prison gets like 10,000 pounds of oranges?
I was just about to say, I was like, the budget that they convinced. Oh, you know what? Here's my thing though, is we're Americans. So I think that's just probably normal for a British prison. I think over there, it's just like fancy and
it's
nice.
Just marmalade and lobsters and fudge.
Yeah, and pies and cakes.
We should go to England.
And commit a crime.
Like those guys that protect the palace that you like don't move. Like if you touch them.
Just punch him right in the nose.
Right in the dick.
Just, what now, King?
Yeah. Because they'll probably have a podcasting studio inside. I'm just guessing by the way their kitchen is.
We could transform the prison through podcasting. We'd have all the prisoners on our show. We'd be like the British ear hustle.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
We'd be like, so...
And all our
Knuckles, tell me what you did. Well, I said when I over there, okay, turn around and...
So... I'm really surprised you didn't go into your Michael Caine joke.
Is that Michael Caine?
We have Michael Caine in studio here in London, in the prison of in the depths of the London
Yes.
prison.
I'm Michael Caine.
So Michael Caine,
That's my cocaine.
What did you get in prison for?
I'm in prison for my cocaine.
No. We know you're Michael Caine.
I'm Michael Caine, and that's Michael Caine.
No.
That's all I can do. That's what
What did you get into prison for though?
His name sounds like he's saying my cocaine. It's fantastic.
So anyways, with all our previous guests too, if you ever want to be back on Banter and such, just fly to London. We'll probably have a budget to send people
Well, you
because
can do-
the London budget
you
will
do
they'll
visit.
enter prison.
Yeah, we'll get that a line item in the
Yeah.
prison. But we get visitors too, right?
Yeah, I think when we plead guilty to the judge, part of the sentencing that will be is like, hey, like we'll give you a reduced sentence plus
Yeah.
we'll spend thousands of dollars to fly out any guest for Banter and such.
That's how it works in England.
I like this idea.
This is so realistic.
Yeah, is that part of the universal health care in England? is podcasting?
I can't live without podcasting. Come on, King.
Oh man,
This is fantastic.
where were we? What were we talking about?
We don't know anything about England.
No. No.
So I don't.
I
know
just
really.
know in like 1776 we told him to
Yeah.
F off.
I forgot. I really forgot. We have real live people listening to our show in the United Kingdom right now.
I'm not apologizing for that segment. I thought it was hilarious.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize. Hey, we love England here.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah, with your bangers and mash and your marmalade.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your talking bears.
What is marmalade? Is it honey?
No, marmalade. So when he described it as like oranges, sugar, and water, I was like, that's just jam.
Jam?
Yeah.
So it's like jelly. It's like eating a jelly sandwich.
All right.
You know what I learned is when we say jelly, everywhere else in the world they call Jello jelly. So when
What?
Americans say peanut butter and jelly sandwich, everyone else thinks we're talking peanut butter and Jello. Isn't that weird? They call it. I don't know what they call it over there. They call it like it's just fruit stickies, sticky fruities. They don't call it jelly. They call it sticky fruities.
Yeah. Can I get some toasted bread with some of that sticky fruities?
It's just toasted bread with sticky fruities on it. And
This might be the most
peanut
offensive
mash.
segment we've ever done. Just how bad our accents are.
To be fair, in our culture, we can still make fun of the British.
Yes.
that is still allowed.
So, not a trivia question, but
Okay.
there is a difference between jams and marmalade.
Really?
Yeah, there is.
So jam, does it have chunks of fruit in it?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's jams can be made from a fruit or vegetable.
Okay.
Marmalade,
vegetable?
yeah,
that's
marmalade can only be used with citrus.
weird. Ah.
So it's like a subcategory.
It's a sub. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
it's marmalade jam.
yeah. So that's what he's into. And I love how he's the British Winnie the Pooh. They're clearly the same thing.
And he's Winnie the Poohing it. He doesn't have pants on.
Doesn't have pants.
Yeah,
But Winnie the Pooh has honey.
and he has
Padding-
marmalade.
And Paddington has marmalade.
I'd rather have honey.
That's the thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of honey, actually. I like it. I put it in my tea.
Okay.
Now look at me, I'm British. I drink tea.
Yeah, and Michael Caine.
Hey,
Michael Caine.
It's for my tea and cocaine.
Yeah. Michael Caine, if you ever want to be on an episode of Banter and such, come on. I'd love to interview you.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be.
We would just talk about Batman the whole time.
Pretty much, yes.
So I did think too, like, what are as I'm watching this movie, I can't help but like, the whole like superhero fan in me. I'm like, this is a talking sentient bear, but they did show other animals that are not talking or sentient. I'm like, what are the larger implications of the Paddington cinematic universe? Like, what is this world that he lives in? Like, is he the only sentient animal? No, because he had his aunt and uncle.
And uncle, yeah.
And they were just living life. So there's got to be others. Is it just bears?
They were just living with the bare necessities.
Does it show non-sentient bears in this movie?
Maybe?
So maybe all bears are sentient. Like humans come from apes. So apes, in this universe, apes and bears are sentient, but all other animals are just like animals.
Yeah, it's like bears beats Battlestar Galactica. I have no answer for you. And the fact that we're getting this philosophical on Paddington 2.
But I'm like, what is this world he lives in? What are the rules?
Maybe they explain in the first one.
That's got to be it.
That's it. Yeah.
That was the lab experiment where he breaks out of the lab.
Paddington 2 come out first, and then they made a prequel called Paddington.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Paddington
okay.
2 is the first one. Yeah. Does Marvel own this? Because there's got to be a Rocket Raccoon Paddington crossover.
So if Rocket Raccoon and Paddington fucked,
they're not genetically compatible. Raccoons and bears, they can't do that. I mean, they could get it on, but they couldn't have babies. So.
Bet. If the CIA is listening, this is not about what you think it's about.
Surely Disney would show us that, would answer that question for us.
Yeah, 100% Disney, get on it.
We're not even talking about the movie.
So, Brando, on a scale of 1 inspirational to 5 inspirationals, how inspirational was this inspirational movie to your inspiring nether regions?
I'm glad that you asked based on inspiration, because based on like how good of a movie is, it's like it's fine as a movie. It's okay. But as honestly as a feel good thing, like to put on, you watch in the background or just sit down and watch it. We'll give it a watch one time. The feel good, I would say, 4.5 out of 5 feel goods.
Yeah, I mean, if you were asking me on a scale of 1 to 5 how good this movie is, it's going to be like a 2. But on inspirations, I would say it's like 4, 4.5 for sure.
It is genuinely, and the message, because he even says something. He has a saying like, "If we were kind and polite, the world will be right."
Yeah,
and
it rhymes, and that means it's true.
It's a British rhyme. So and
slang rhyming.
if you're not polite, the world will be. Sorry, I can't stop doing that.
Yeah, no, please.
But that's such a wonderful message, and I'm like, this is good in the world.
Yeah.
Put more good stuff in the world. Fantastic.
Yeah, honestly, like it's worth the watch. I will say, if you haven't seen it, put it on. You will laugh. Hugh Grant, we didn't really talk a lot about him, but he is amazing in it.
Yes.
He's literally like insane.
And he's an actor, and he takes on all these. He's an eccentric actor.
And he talks to himself in different accents and different characters. It's good.
Yeah.
But Brando, to move this along a little bit.
The number 2.
What is the number 2 most inspiring movie?
Yeah, the number 2 most feel-good movie of all time is one I think is unexpected.
Yes.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
And honestly, this movie hits everything for me.
Yes.
And it has the quality that makes it a great movie to me, which is I can turn it off. Well, like it's over, and I would want to watch it right then and there again.
Okay.
I watched it yesterday, and I watched it again today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because that's how much I love this movie.
Okay, well, then you tell us the story then.
So Secret Life of Walter Mitty is, we're talking about the Ben Stiller remake in 2013.
What, there's another one?
Yeah, it's the original is 1946.
I did not know that. I thought this was its own thing.
No, so this is technically a remake.
Wow.
Yeah, from, like 80 years ago.
1946.
I think is the original one. So Ben Stiller plays Walter Mitty, the titular character, and he is just a workaholic guy that has done nothing with his life. But what he does is throughout the day, he zones out, and where he zones out, he goes on an adventure.
Yeah.
And it's like in the most inappropriate times, he zones out. And so he is, dreaming of having a more adventurous life, the ABCs is what he calls it, the adventurous, brave, and creative.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And he's working at Life magazine. Life magazine is getting shut down, and they're producing one last magazine.
Yeah.
And this famous photographer,
played by Sean Penn.
I
think his name is Sean.
Sean O'Connell, I think, or something like that. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yeah.
Something like that. Sean Owen.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm kidding. It's not me. It's this like famous photographer and sends in a photo as a negative image to be the picture to encapsulate
the final cover.
The final cover of Life magazine.
Yeah.
And when he sends it in, it's not there. And then Walter Mitty has to decides to go on an adventure to find the picture.
Yeah, or to find the photographer who has and what's interesting is he uses the others of his pictures that he got as clues to find out where he is in the world.
Yeah.
And you never know where is at the bottom of the ocean, is he at the top of a mountain, you don't know.
And there's this whole there's Christian Wiggs in it, and that's the love interest, and they're
his best friend, essentially the eHarmony guy.
Patton Oswalt.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And honestly, man, it's just because it's adventurous, it's funny, it's engaging, it's inspirational, and I don't really feel like there's really any fluff to this movie.
No, I mean, and he has to. That's what I love about it. My favorite thing is his life is fine, and everything is presented as fine. Like, he's not miserable at all, but it's very safe and boring.
Yeah.
And he has, I mean, to go on this adventure, he steps outside of his comfort zone. He travels across the world in very kind of weird ways, you know, to get into weird places.
Yeah.
And he goes on adventures. But the whole thing of like stepping outside of your comfort zone and just having courage and just going for it, which is something he's never done in his life and he's not comfortable with, but he does. And that is so cool.
And
like
the movie takes such a weird turn, which I love, when he's like, the movie opens up with him on eHarmony and he sees Kristen Wiig's character in it.
Oh yeah.
And he's sitting there and he's trying to psych himself up to like click the wink button to like, hey, I liked you and stuff like that.
And she works same building,
same building, but they don't really know each other at the time. And so like he like walks away and he comes back and he finally clicks the button. And it's like, site error, cannot do this. And I was like, oh man. So he calls up eHarmony,
which is Patton Oswalt.
Oswalt. And Patton Oswalt's like, so what have you done? He's like, I don't know, I haven't really done anything, gone anywhere. And you just tell
he's trying to help him fill out his profile.
Yeah, he's like, okay.
And he's like, come on, man, you got to help me out here.
And then all of a sudden, just without warning, Walter Mitty stands up and he's like, I'll be right back. And then like goes running and jumps off these train tracks into like, you know, Chicago apartment building or New York apartment building.
Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. There's an explosion that happens. He comes out of the building with like a little 3-legged dog and
he
delivers it to Kristen Wiig. He's like, well, I thought he smelled gas and I heard your dog barking. So I put 2 and 2 together.
Well, that's the thing is out of nowhere, this movie, and you don't see it coming, but out of nowhere, it's just these huge action sequences that are actually really legit.
Yeah.
Like they're clearly over the top.
And it's just, that's him zoning out.
Yeah. Just imagining
his life being better. Or like he all of a sudden like imagines that like he's busting through the walls of Life magazine in the building.
Yeah.
And he's like a Spanish lover now. And he's just like climbed to the top of these Icelandic mountains and has a poetry falcon.
Well, what's cooler is as the movie goes on, and he actually steps out of his comfort zone and goes on these adventures, the line between his imagination and what's really happening kind of gets a little blurred because like all of a sudden he's jumping off of this thing or hiking up a mountain or jumping into the ocean and stuff. And you're like, what? In the first half of the movie, that would have been one of his pretend scenes, but in the second half, no, this is really happening to him now.
Yeah, like he gets attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
And then he gets on a boat after being attacked by the shark and grabs the dude. He's like, "Is this real? Did this really happen?" And yeah, it did.
Yeah, and you're thinking that same thing as a viewer, and it is just it's so amazing. Another thing that I noticed about this movie that I really loved, and definitely if you're gonna go watch this movie after our recommendation, notice this, but the framing and the color motifs in this movie are amazing. Like visually, this movie, like if you watch the first part of this movie and a lot of Walter Mitty and his life, everything is gray or like a gray blue. It's in these kind of like he almost blends into the background. The camera is very still, like you can tell it's and he just walks off into the frame and out of the frame as he's just background character.
Yeah.
And if you notice when he meets Kristen Wiig, her costume is very warm colors, and he goes to her apartment and everything is in warm colors. And as he goes on these adventures, if you notice, the color red starts popping up. Where he's offered the car.
Oh yeah,
and you can get a blue car or a red car. And so blue is kind of the boring, mundane. It's
the red pill or the blue pill.
Exactly. It's like it's the adventure, it's the passion. And he ends the movie with this red sweater that he's in.
Oh yeah.
And he's even got like red on his coat. So these color motifs are popping up. It's just really cool. Like not only is it this great story and it's telling a great story with a great character, but visually this is a gorgeous movie.
It is. And I mean, that's one of the things too, like even with this, like there's some mystery to it because he's trying to find Sean Penn's character and like things are getting weird how they're adding up. Like it's his birthday. And his sister, Catherine Hahn, comes in.
Oh, yeah.
With clementine cake. And then he's on a boat from Greenland to Iceland and they have the clementine cake.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And it's like all these like little weird like things that are adding up. And you're like, oh, like the hunt for like through the photographer. Like he's working at a bar in a hotel when I met you. Like he's in a karaoke bar in Greenland.
Yeah.
And there's this like drunk guy singing a song and he ends up picking a fight with him. And while he's about to get stabbed by a broken bottle, he recognizes the thumb from one of Sean Penn's photographs. He's
He's
like, wait, I know your thumb.
Yeah, well, he's got all these clues to track him down, and he ends up like in the Himalayas on top of a mountain, and that whole. So when he finally does find the photographer, and they meets him in real life, and they sit down and they have this conversation. You gotta pay attention to what he says because Sean Penn is essentially he's there to film this like snow leopard or take pictures of it, which is super elusive. But what he says is he's actually talking about the themes of the movie, and he's actually talking about Walter Mitty.
Yeah,
and it's just beautiful. That scene is so perfectly.
So what
written.
happens is he finally comes across him randomly in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And Sean Penn's there and they start talking about everything and realize like, okay. And then the snow leopard comes. Yeah. Right. And this is what like, I want to get like a tattoo of something like this. I don't know what, right? This moment, because all of a sudden Sean Penn, who is a world-renowned photographer, gets on his camera in the viewfinder, the snow leopard.
Yeah, which is like never been
photographed or like very minimally photographed. And like him and Ben Stiller like looking in it, seeing it. And then Walter Mitty, Ben Stiller character, he's like, so when you get to take a picture? And he goes, if I really like this moment, like me, I like it. I just want to be in it. And he doesn't take a photo of the snow. A world-renowned photographer doesn't do his job. And I'm like, dude, I like that. That's dope.
But he just exists in that moment.
Yeah.
That's what's
he
so
just wants
beautiful.
To exist.
And there's like a dual layer of message in this movie because we talked about in Paddington, it's about kindness and politeness. Yeah. In this one, it's like twofold because if you're listening to our conversation so far, you can tell definitely a big theme and message in this movie is step outside your comfort zone, have courage, do things that matter, do things that are adventurous and have courage. That's definitely like the message on top. But the message underneath it, and even says it, Sean Penn, his character says it, he says, beautiful things don't ask for attention.
Yeah.
And so there's this sub message of appreciate the things that are just there, just appreciate the things that are in the everyday beauty. Not everything is fireworks. Some things are just beautiful in their simplicity, in their mundanity, and have that appreciation and almost like this idea of like just drinking life up,
Man, it's there's a great artist named Amigo the Devil, and he has a song, and one of the lines of the song is like, "There's always someone who pays to see the whole concert through their phone."
Oh, yeah.
And that's something like when I was like, I always think of that when I think of, the Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I actually saw this movie in theaters with my mom and dad back in when it came out.
Oh, cool.
And so it's like, it's always something like that where it's like, yeah, man, like I cannot stand the people that sit there with their entire time. They're at a concert and they just have their phone out. I will take out my phone. I'll like videotape a couple parts, 10, 50 seconds, take a couple pictures just so I have it in.
Something to remember
by, right? But like there are people I legitimately know like the entire time just have it
trying to like hand. Record the whole
thing.
Song.
I'm like, when are you going to watch the entire video?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee what you're going to do instead is just see this person again in like 6-7 months.
Yeah. And there's something to be said about, man, just be in the moment. Just exist in this, breathe the air, hear the sounds, feel the feelings, just exist in this moment. And there's so much in the world. I mean, there's the world is a very complex thing and there's a lot of ugliness, but there's a lot of beauty too. And this movie definitely like highlights the beauty side of the world. There's no gritty, it doesn't deny the grittiness of the world, but it focuses on the beautiful, like when he's in the ocean on a ship, and then he's in a plane, and then he's on a helicopter, and he's on a mountain,
and then he's riding away from a volcano that's exploding on a longboard.
Yeah, he's on that longboard, like just going like 50 miles an hour on this road, and it's just like, man, just feel the wind blowing through your hair, man. Sometimes you just got to do that, and I love that message. I just love
Brando, let's just go right now. Let's just go somewhere. Let's go.
Dude,
let's go do something.
No
let's go
joke.
Be adventurous, brave, and creative.
Yes,
right now.
You watch this movie. Like I cannot watch. Like when I get done with this movie, I'm like, dude, let's do something, man. Like that's why this movie's on its list, and it's hugely underrated.
So subscribe to our Patreon, and you can send us on a vacation. We'll film it for you.
Yes, that's why we're not going anywhere. I got bills to pay. Man. But definitely, if you have not seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, check it out, man. You are in for a treat.
So on a scale of 1 inspiring to 5 inspirings, how inspired did this make your inspiring heart feel?
I'm going to give this a full throbbing 5.
I'm also going to give this a 5.
Yeah.
As well as I'll give this a solid 4 on just overall film. Like just like on a scale of 1 to 5, it's a solid 4 as a film goes.
I think that's exactly what I would say too.
Yeah.
Like even if you take the inspire, like how it makes you feel out of it, it's visually beautiful. You know, and it's got some funny. Cute
it's got Adam
things.
Scott. He's great as like the villain of the story.
Oh, he's such an
with
asshole.
His shitty beard.
It does look terrible.
And that's the point.
As 2 bearded men, that dude's beard sucks.
It was
man.
bad. It was bad. So, anyways, Brando,
We're ready for the number 1.
what is, according to you, the most inspirational movie of all time?
The number 1 most feel good, inspirational, uplifting movie of all time. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, man. So, first off, before we go anywhere with this movie, I have to give a shout out to my mom.
Aww.
Because this is her favorite movie of all time, and she was somewhat joking about flying out here to come out and be on this episode.
That would have been awesome if we could have worked that out, though. But I mean, it's old school, it's classic, but it's known for a reason. I mean, it's so standard for a reason because it's so famous. I mean, it's been uplifting for generations. I mean, as the world has changed, as society has changed and tastes have changed, even still, the message in It's a Wonderful Life and how it makes you feel, it's just so timeless and so good and so just wholesome, man.
Dude, this movie, my mom and I and the whole family watched like every Christmas. Like this was like Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
And then my mom would always watch A Miracle on
34th Street. 31st Street? Miracle on 59th Street? What street is it?
Miracle. And so it's just one of those movies that like I have seen over and
Miracle
over.
on Elm Street.
Miracle on Elm Street.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. I've come to slash your stockings.
Ho, 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 bitch.
You can run, but you can't hide. Those presents from me. Miracle on 34th Street.
34th Street. There you go.
Wow. Okay, so Miracle on 34th Street, the original, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and the original Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and It's a Wonderful Life were all 1946 and 47.
Wow.
Like right in that time frame.
What?
Yeah.
Was Paddington 1 from 1946 also?
No, but Paddington 1,
the original
book was like from the 30s, I want to say.
But it's like the movie was in the 40s, but they didn't have computer graphics, so they had to have like a real live bear on set.
And bareface just isn't really socially acceptable anymore.
Like a person in a bear. They tried that,
and
they were just like, oh, no, not even for the 40s would they do that. That's so stupid. There was that mauling though. That was the behind the scenes.
Yeah. Look, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't born and then it wasn't available to act in the 1940s. So he couldn't have him do bareface.
What do you mean by you animals?
What do you mean by you animals?
It's so stupid.
And my mom's turned off the podcast.
There we go. Sorry, Owen's mom. No, but It's a Wonderful Life. It really is beautiful. And for people who don't know the story, and what's funny is I haven't seen this movie in years, and watching it again, like I remember like he goes to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And he meets the angel, and the angel walks him through his whole life where he never existed.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was the whole movie, and it is not.
It is only the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah, like the vast majority of this movie it's his story in his town. It's what's his name? Jimmy Stewart, who was just a charming, so charming of an actor. He plays what's his name?
George Bailey.
George Bailey, and he's in the small town, and it just kind of goes through his life. When he was a kid, he saved his brother from drowning, and then he gets older, and he gets a job at this local bank, and it's a small bank for this local town, and they're all the locals. They got their savings and stuff in the bank, and he's done stuff to keep the bank afloat. And there's the big asshole who is like the big billionaire guy,
Mr.
essentially.
Potter.
Mr. Potter, who's
Harry Potter.
yeah, that's right, and
Yeah.
it is played by Daniel Radcliffe,
Yep. Mhm.
and so
They just, in the makeup in the 40s, not bare face, but the other makeup was actually really good.
yeah, billionaire
It
face,
is, yeah.
just
Old Scroogey billionaire face.
it's Elon Musk as
Mr. Potter.
As Mr.
As Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You're a billionaire, Harry.
What? I think he's a billionaire even in the movies. He's got that chamber full of gold coins.
Oh,
so.
man.
But anyway, but he's like the evil asshole who's trying to buy up stuff and turn it on to
Yeah.
the slums and just make a profit because he didn't care about the actual like this small town, right? And just all these little like kind of vignettes of how George Bailey has met these people and impacted their
Mhm.
lives, but in these little small ways that you never would have thought of. And then by the end of it, like he's really going through like the bank is falling apart.
Yeah.
And they lost all this money and he's going to go to jail. And that's when he gets to that point where he goes to the bridge and he's just like, I'm going to end it. Nothing matters. My life doesn't matter.
And there's a reason why, too, is, so George Bailey, his entire life, even when he's a kid, he keeps talking about how he wants to go out, see the world. He doesn't want to be stuck
Yeah.
in his shitty hometown.
Yeah.
And
He
so-
was.
And
his
he
whole
was.
life. Yeah.
And he finally, every single time he had an opportunity to actually do that, something would happen where that would keep him there. Like his father died, so he had to take over being the president of the bank.
Yeah.
Or he's on his honeymoon with the love of his life. They're about to leave for it. They got $2,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're going to go all over the world
Yeah.
and like drink the oldest champagnes and this and that.
Which that would be a decent vacation now, but back in the 40s, that would be,
Yeah. And so and then their bank, all the loans for their bank gets called up. So he uses his money, the
His
honeymoon
personal
money,
yeah.
and he pays back every single person that has a bank account with him.
Yeah. And then World War II happens.
Yep.
And he can't go because he lost the hearing in one ear.
He does go, but he's he gets a desk job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. He
Yeah.
didn't go into combat.
That, yeah.
And he does like he's the guy who like does he collects rubber for everyone for the war effort and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But then his brother goes out and he's a big war hero.
Yeah.
He wins medals and stuff. So yeah, and so everything is just like, and then finally it kind of culminates and he's been around, decades later. He's got kids and the bank's just falling apart. And that's when he's
like, the only thing I can do right now is I have a life insurance policy. So he's like, if I kill myself,
yeah,
my family will get the life insurance policy and that will save them.
which I guess that's how that would work in the 40s.
Yeah, sure.
But an angel comes like
Clarence,
manifests
yeah.
as a person and he rescues the angel instead of jumping in the river himself. He rescues the angel from the river and he says, "Oh, I wish I was never born." And so then the angel shows him, well, here's what the world would be like if you were never born.
Yeah, and it's like he saved his brother from drowning when he was super young, so his brother's now dead. He
didn't grow up to be the war hero and save a whole ship full of soldiers. Thousands of people died because of
the
that.
town turns into like Back to the Future 2 town. Where it's,
Biff Tannen is
Biff
in
Tannen,
charge.
yeah.
Where it's like the billionaire asshole has bought up all the land.
And there's like strip clubs. Everybody's
Slums,
a drunk.
yeah.
Nobody likes anybody. Yeah.
Well, and then the one guy he worked for when he was a kid, he's now like he's a drunk and his life is
He's homeless because he
he's
killed a kid on
homeless.
accident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And it just kind of goes around and shows yeah, man, like you have more of a positive impact than you think and your life matters more than you think. And if you weren't here, things would be a little bit worse, and in his case, a lot worse. 'Cause
Yeah.
he was actually a really great guy, and it ends on this. I mean, just the sappiest ending you can. I mean, it's the sugariest, sweetest ending ever. Of like, oh, I'm just so happy I'm alive, and I love my kids and my wife, and
That's
the whole.
actually pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm Jimmy
James
Stewart,
Stewart.
and that's my cocaine right there.
Oh God! I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
And then like the whole town comes into his house and is like giving him money and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, you saved everything," you know. It's just
Hey, Daddy, my teacher always said when a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
oh yeah.
That's right, honey.
The bells are ringing. It's so sappy, but it's like basically everything that came after. It's one of those movies where like things make fun of it, but it was the first one. It was the one that established that thing to begin with. So that super sappy ending, like it was that's where that comes from, man.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like You're right. Like, I remember as a kid just being like, oh yeah, the entire movie he's not born. I'm like, no, it's really only the last 20 minutes. So this is a 2.5 hour long movie, and only the last 20 minutes of it, from like 2 hours to 2 hour 20, because then credits roll.
Yeah.
That's the only part where he's not alive.
Yeah.
Or he's just.
It's the vast majority of it's just his life, just like his story. And it's interesting too. Like this movie is one where like it's not this huge story, but the characters, you really care about them.
Yeah. I mean, there's even a time when like a buddy calls him up and was like, hey, I want you in on this ground floor. We're getting into plastics.
Oh yeah.
And like, that's not going to be a thing.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about this movie. That's one thing I really cued into was this is definitely made in a different era.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a peek. It's like a time capsule. It's like a peek into early 1900s America.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely fascinating because there's a lot of things that are in this movie that you can tell they didn't originally intend. It was just normal at the time. But like looking at it now, you're like, dude, look how much different the world was. One of the biggest things that blew me away was like this underlying theme and vibe of like anti-corporatist greed.
Yeah.
And I like today, like, because the whole like fat cat billionaire guy who's taking over all the land, I'm like, dude, that's fucking normal today.
That's
like,
what we just live in.
Whereas back in the day, like they have a bank, and I'm like, dude, the banks are the bad guys. Oh yeah, that's back when like you had locally owned banks,
yeah,
and not all banks were these mega corporations controlling everything.
There's a scene. So Mr. Potter,
the billionaire,
billionaire, the evil guy,
and he's not just bad because he's a billionaire. He's straight up.
He's
like,
just an evil. He's just evil,
greedy,
dude.
Yeah.
And he knows he's gonna lose this town to George Bailey. Like George Bailey's about to win, but like things go south, obviously. So what he decides to do is he's like, I'm gonna bribe him.
Yeah.
So he like calls him over. Like they're talking. He goes, I want you to work for me. I'm gonna start you at $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Stewart's character, George Bailey, like is smoking a cigar, drops it, like dead, like mouth agape.
Yeah.
You know, just can't even comprehend
what is that?
$20,000. So
I want to, what's the inflation?
1946, right? So yeah, just put in, what would $20,000 in 1946 equal to
I gotta
today?
find this. This is because it's 20 grand and he loses his mind.
Because
what was the year?
1946.
All right, 46, and it was 20,000.
20,000. Yeah, according to inflation.
Okay, so today it would be $305,000, over $305,000 a year. That's what he offered him, an annual salary.
So
$300,000.
You know what? Anyone came up to me and offered me $305,000. Yeah, where do I sign?
I was so sell out.
Boom, let's go.
The world is such a dystopia now. I would absolutely. I'd be like, I can't do it. I'm not Jimmy Stewart, man.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it.
$300 grand a year. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll sell out all of Nashville for that shit.
But yeah, and there's that scene where that was such a time capsule, right? Because he talks about like, what do you make, $20 a week? And I was like, $20 a week? There's times when he's like, dealing out his own personal honeymoon fund.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, how much, like, we're going to get this back in 2 weeks. How much money do you need in 2 weeks? And the lady goes, I can get by in $18.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was that's part of like the small town community coming together too. Like, that, because they're all about this, like this, it's very much pro working people. Like, it's like, hey man, like I know you, your name is Fred, your name is Jane. Man, we're here, like, and I'm the banker, but like, I'm not like the banker like we think of bankers today. It's just like, hey, we're all here working and coming together, and like, can you get by on $17.50? Here, I'll loan you my own personal money. Like, there's so much of that, like, just regular people coming together because we all want our town to be a good place, and it just, I don't know, that kind of thing is. You don't see that a lot today, you know?
Yeah, it is crazy. And I was just doing some math in my head, and I was like, okay, because since we figured out what the inflation is, that means that $2,000 would be like a $31,000 honeymoon vacation.
Yeah,
$31,000
for a honeymoon.
For a honeymoon,
that's a good honeymoon.
That's a great honeymoon.
Yeah,
like I could do some damage.
You can do a lot.
Yeah, go some cool places and spend a lot of money
for
$31,000.
How many weeks?
Biff Town. Let's go.
How many weeks off would you take off to spend $31,000? Could you do it in 2 weeks?
Could I spend $31,000? I can easily spend $31,000 in 2 weeks. But if I want, like, if you're like, hey Owen, here's $31,000, take a vacation. I could probably do 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
maybe even longer.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind staying in like hostels and like cheaper places.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy that because you get like more like local vibe. rather than
If
staying in, like,
you were to
fancy
give me
hotels.
$31,000 and say, "Hey, take a vacation,"
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's irresponsible. You should save that money.
No, if you're like you're going on vacation, I'm like let's go.
We're about to go into our second once in a lifetime recession here, buddy. You need to save that 30 grand. All right. There's no real life, Jeremy Stewart, to save us.
But honestly, like I do understand why this movie is my mom's favorite. Like she says, desert island movie.
Okay,
So
yeah.
like just if you could watch one movie for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
hers would be It's a Wonderful Life, hands down.
So much
And
of
it
it
is an actual Christmas movie, but
it is.
it's really only a Christmas movie at the end.
Yeah.
For
Yes.
that like last like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. But
And people forget about that.
yeah, I see why though. It really is a good movie. You watch a lot of old timey movies like this, and it kind of feels dated, like the way the acting and the shot, like how it was cut, the framing.
Yes.
This movie, it feels very modern.
It does, actually.
yeah.
I was surprised by that too. It's not a lot of that stage acting or like, the look at me. Now I'm over here. Now I'm
Yeah.
open the door. It aged well, man. Like
It
and
really
there wasn't there I don't think there was any of that like blatant racism or sexism too in this movie.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it. I was like, surely
there is one scene where they do have a sassy black lady walk in. I was like, uh-oh. And
Oh, she's the maid, right?
I forgot who she was.
I remember they did have a maid and she was black and I was waiting for someone to say something,
Yeah.
but I don't remember anyone saying anything.
Yeah,
Maybe, don't take my word for it.
The line
but-
that she said was pretty bad. She's like, I've been saving up all this money for a divorce. If I ever get a husband, that is.
You can still be sassy.
Yeah, I was like,
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for a movie made in 1946, though, hey, that's not too bad. Not too bad in that regard. But it's fantastic. I would say, give it another watch.
So Brando,
man.
once again, how many inspirational points on a scale of 1 to 5 would you give this movie because it inspired your little inspiring heart?
A 5 out of 5.
I would say so too.
Yeah, I mean it's the whole and it ends with that message of like gratitude. Also, you can see that he's just so thankful for his house and he's thankful for his kids and his wife, and that's a really powerful like thing for like emotional health in general.
Yeah,
is they say when you practice gratitude, when you like call to mind, the things that you do like about your life and the things that are good in life, and you call to mind, you kind of like just reflect on those for a moment. If you can do a little bit of that every day, that would help your emotional health so much. And I think that's a good message for today.
Yeah.
Just practice gratitude, man.
I'm all for it. I'd give it a 5 as well, and I would even say that this movie is a solid 4 on like the just general movie.
Yeah, I mean it's a well written, well acted movie.
Yeah.
The only downside is that it's old.
It's old and it is a little long.
Yeah, it is,
but
just a little.
Yeah, but even then, well, those are our 3 movies. So
I'm proud of them.
It's trivia time.
Well, Brando is so used to spinning the wheel, he's keeping it for himself this week. Even though,
Are we still doing the wheel though? I thought we talked about
even though I lost last week, and I'm spinning the wheel today.
Oh yeah, we're definitely spinning the wheel. That's still a thing that our show does. I didn't even think about it. I was like
gesturing to Brando. I was like, "Hey, grab the wheels," and I was like, "Bring it over to me." I'm keeping the wheel. It's just so used to it.
What's our total score?
For this season so far, it's 48-48. So we are tied.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
I'll
This
figure it.
season's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, we're doing real good.
I remember season 1. I trailed you by like 30 points. All
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, I got a talking to from a lot of our friends and listeners, so I've become a little bit more gentle and a lot less. What's the word I'm looking for? A dick on trivia.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. You're good.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Do it, baby.
Okay, how is it hot sauce every time?
I think hot sauce is on there like 6 times though.
No, it's only on maybe. Okay, here we go. We're spinning it again. Pirate. Isn't that what you had to do? Okay, we have to get a new wheel.
I'm just a new wheel.
It's like lopsided or something. Hot sauce.
Are you gonna keep spinning it until you find something you like? Was it Whitney Houston?
It was Whitney Houston.
We've done that.
Oh my gosh.
We're all spun out, man.
Yeah, I think we are all.
I think we've come to the end of the wheel.
Shot of microwave tequila. That was the one I landed on. That was closest to everything else. So
Let's do it.
We're gonna do a shot of microwave tequila. Oh gosh.
We'll take a pause.
So if you don't know this about me, I love tequila, and it's very hard for me to keep tequila in the household, especially when all our hosts and guests also love tequila. So we didn't have any tequila, so I decided to up it. Make it even worse. I got microwaved gin
in the microwave. You put it. How long did you put it in for?
So I put it in for I put a minute, and within 15 seconds, it was already bubbling.
Gosh. All right.
And it's like a 1980s bottle of gin. So this is also really bad. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's hot.
Oh, the glass is hot.
Mm.
It's gonna burn your lip. Don't hurt yourself.
Don't
do it, baby.
Oh, that's really hot. That's like hot tea. There we go. Oh, that's fucking hot gin. Ugh. Anyways, all right. So
that's all we got.
That's all we got. It's a little too hot. Hot gin, dude. That's like sizzling. Woo!
Super.
My
gross.
tongue is medium rare right now. So Brando, why don't you go ahead and ask all your trivia questions right now?
So I came to the studio and I forgot that I had to get some trivia.
Brandon and I are starting back up D&D, and I'm the dungeon master, and I forgot to do trivia because I was too busy writing our session.
Well, the thing is I really struggle with it, but then Owen got several questions really quickly.
Yeah.
And I only managed to do one right off the top of my head. And
go for it.
Do you want me to start with mine?
Yeah, go ahead. No, well, okay, I'll give mine. Well, you have one, so we'll save that for the end.
Yeah, we'll go with yours first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Oh, wait. Just to be clear, too, the way we're doing it is if I get it right, I get a point. If I get it wrong,
I get a point. Yeah. In the famous scene in Secret Life of Walter Mitty where they're in the park and he shows off his skateboarding moves to the kid.
Uh-huh.
What famous skateboarder subbed in for Ben Stiller?
Was it Tony Hawk?
No. It was Rodney Mullen, my personal favorite skater of all time.
Nice.
Yeah. Rodney Mullen, King of Street. He was part of the Bone Gang. Yeah, he's great.
Nice.
All right, that's 1 point for me. Look who's spinning it next week. It's going to be you with your cocaine.
We got more questions. With your cocaine.
All right, Brando. I'm going to keep going with Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Okay.
How many people does Walter meet in Greenland?
Oh, I know this one. Because he's talking to a guy, like
the drunken helicopter pilot.
The helicopter pilot. And he was like, "Oh yeah, there's only like 8 people in Greenland." And I think in the movie he only meets 8 people.
Yeah, he only meets 8 people in Greenland. Yep. And that's the joke. All right, nice one.
That was
when he finds the Clementine cake wrapped. There's like a bunch of like gibberish that they're trying to figure out what it means.
Yeah.
In Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yeah.
They use the word they're trying to figure out, they can't figure out the certain word, and it ends up being warlords. Was the word that it was. What word did they originally think it was?
Oh.
And I'm going to take a sip of my super hot gin.
Oh. That looks really gross. Warlord. Your face.
Oh, God.
Oh.
You know, the last time I had to do this was the season finale of last season, and I puked my brains out.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was bad.
I don't remember what it was.
Warlocks!
Wow.
You D&D nerd. You couldn't come up with warlocks. All right, 2 to 1.
I forget that.
Yeah. All right, Paddington 2 questions now.
Oh, here we go.
Gleason. We talked about Brendan Gleason. Knuckles. When he finally gets out of prison, he screams, "Freedom!" Which is an obvious Easter egg to Braveheart. But why is this Easter egg ironic or has a double meaning?
Well, he was in that actor was in.
He was in Braveheart.
Braveheart. Yeah. I think he was like one of the Scottish guys. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
All right, there it is. Because it's Paddington 2 and there's not a whole lot of trivia. The second question has to deal with Brendan Gleeson.
All right.
His name is Knuckles.
Yeah.
How does he spell it?
Oh, I remember. So I remember it was misspelled because he shows it's tattooed on his knuckles,
and he has to do the cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my daughter, my 7-year-old, who's like learning how to read, she was like, "Wait a minute," and so I had to explain to her. I was like, "That's misspelled."
Yes. Okay.
But it was like Nuckels.
Close.
N-U-K-E-L-S?
But it's kind of a trick question because he specifically says how it's spelled in the movie.
Oh, I remember seeing it on his
Yeah.
knuckles. It was,
He says how it's spelled in the movie.
yeah.
How does he say it's spelled?
I don't remember.
It's Knuckles with a capital N.
Well, that was right then. Just without the capital. N-U-C-K-E-L-S, right?
Man, oh gosh, now you're making me doubt myself. Paddington
It was E-L-S.
to
Yeah.
Knuckles. I'm looking it up on IMDb. Why don't you do another shitty impression?
Well, I do remember that there was like a newspaper clipping after he got out, and he started his own like restaurant, and it was called
N-U-C-K-E-L''S.
Are you not gonna give that one?
I'm not
to me?
giving it to you. Not that
But
one.
he started his own restaurant, and he called it Knuckle Sandwich.
That's right. Okay, here's another one.
Oh, is this Paddington also?
No. We're moving on to Wonderful Life now.
Okay.
Where did AFI, American Film Institute,
Uh-huh.
place It's a Wonderful Life in the top 100 as in inspirational movies, in the top 100 most inspirational movies of all time?
Oh, specifically inspirational movies.
Uh-huh.
It's got to be in the top 10.
Where?
Oh, you want more specific than that?
You got to give me the number.
Is it number 1?
It is number 1.
Oh, hey, it's number 1 on our list, too.
Look at us. Hey, AFI, we
There
should
you go.
collab.
Yeah.
You want to come be guests
We got this.
in our little shitty British
Yeah.
London
You
cell?
could hire us for over $306,000
And I'll
annual
say
salary.
yes. I
I need a $31,000 vacation, though. Come on, AFI.
a 10% vacation signing bonus. All right. There was a specific scene in It's a Wonderful Life that they had to cut to like shorten it down, or else they would have not made the PG rating.
What?
Yeah. What scene did they have to cut down? Like it was like significantly longer, but they like had to cut it short.
Oh. It was that really graphic sex scene from the... No.
You saw P going V.
No, I bet it was it when the angel was in the water and he was it that scene where like Jimmy Stewart's gonna jump off and kill himself, but the angel's in the water?
No, it's actually the kissing scene.
What?
Apparently it was too passionate for the
When they got married?
no, when they first kiss.
When they first? Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember when they finally like embrace each other? Yeah.
Oh, that would have got it an R rating.
Uh-huh.
Wow, because there's no PG-13.
There's
back
no
then.
PG-13 then. Yeah, it was G, PG, and R.
Rated R
Yeah.
for too much kissing.
Scene, yep.
How adorable is that? Come on, though. That's so quaint and adorable.
Yeah. Okay, this is my last trivia question. It's also about A Wonderful Life.
All right.
How many hundreds of thousands of feet of film was produced while filming It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh, man. Hundreds of thousands of feet.
So it's 1,000 or 100,000, 150,000. Give me in a 50 50 decimal.
Was it
Or
300,000?
It is 350,000 feet of film
Wow.
were produced for this movie.
I was close. I was only 50,000 off.
Only 50,000. If you think that about 50,000 feet, 50,000, I'll take a $50,000 pay raise. It's only 50,000.
It's only 50,000.
All right, the score's 3-5.
That would take your pay from the Helios Network. That would increase your pay by $50,000.
$50,000.
It would go from 0 to 50. All right, that's all of yours?
That is.
Okay, so I only have one. It's the only one I could think of.
Okay.
And I thought of it while watching Paddington 2.
Oh, God. All right.
Okay.
This gin is so bad.
Which Paddington 2 actor have I seen their genitals?
Wait, what?
And by that, I mean completely naked in another movie. Which Paddington 2 actor is top to bottom, butt booty naked?
In
you-
another movie.
And you see everything.
You see it.
Yeah,
Yeah. The Twigs and Beans.
everything.
The
I'm not going to go beyond that.
Oh gosh, I was hoping you'd give me Twigs and Beans so I know if it's a guy or girl.
Which Paddington
shit.
2 act. I immediately, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh.
Oh, I've seen that person put her naked. Just because
Yeah.
I have to say it.
Uh-huh.
Was it Brendan Gleeson?
No. It was the mom. She's in The Shape of Water. She's the star.
Oh, that's right. That is her.
Where she has sex with the fish man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Abe from Hellboy.
Thank you, Guillermo del Toro, because we have seen Paddington's mom completely nude.
Yeah.
That was the only.
Somehow that made that movie more inspirational for me, knowing this now.
That was the only question I could think of. I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
I couldn't think of anything else.
Huh.
Sorry. So I get that point because you didn't get it right.
Okay, sure. Though it's dumb.
I'm sorry,
That was
everyone.
dumb, and I like it though. That was so dumb.
But I don't care. I'm in such a good mood after seeing these movies.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood when I see a lady naked too.
I mean,
That's usually how it goes.
I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not gonna like.
Well, Brando, I'm sorry, but you did not win this week. The score was 4-5.
Oh,
Valiant effort.
yeah.
I am up by a point though.
1
52
point.
to 53 now.
We're still close, man.
Yeah.
We're still close. So we're thinking about doing it a new way.
We're
We'll see
talking about
it
for
comes.
season 4 doing the Wheel of Shame or trivia new way.
I have to find new punishments to go on the wheel, but like punishments that don't suck. They're like, oh, what if you get kicked in the face? I'm like, I'm not.
Well,
doing
I wanted to put a slap on there, like the other person gets to slap you across the face.
that. No, but that's violent.
Like those, like, have you seen that Russian television show? I think it's Russian, where they get people to like slap each other in the face. Like it's like a whole tournament, like the arm wrestling tournament, but they slap each other in the face.
I've seen stuff like that
Yeah.
before, but that's like knocking people out.
Yeah. And they keep doing it to one of them until it's like somebody gets knocked out.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
If you spin on that, you can either
Sub to our
either
Patreon.
hot sauce or
Or-
you get beat the shit out of your face until we crack
It's
your
just
skull.
slapping. No one's ever been hurt from a slap
That's
before.
not true at all. Some people have very solid hands.
And,
Not like my girly lotioned hands.
but those hands can know kung fu if need be.
If I need it.
Yeah, if you need it.
I wouldn't feel that way
You
with
just download
though.
it from the Matrix.
You're not a danger. I'd be like,
What was that like?
just That's my soft effort.
All right, Brando, go and close us on out.
First of all, I apologize for this whole episode. Also, we are proud members of the Helios Network, a collection of great podcasts made by regular people.
Yeah, check us out at www.theheliosnetwork.com to check out some of our other amazing podcasts like Master and Debaters.
Dude, check out Master and Debaters. It's out.
They finally
It's
launched,
out.
and it is so good. They did for their first episode, they released the fast food episode.
They are debating like all about fast food.
Yeah.
It is so funny. You've got to check it. It's called Master and Debaters.
Yep.
It's everywhere you get podcasts. So whatever app you want to use.
And it's spelled the right way. I was spelling debaters wrong.
ORS?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ERS.
It's ERS. I was like
Yeah.
masturbators.
Master, that is ORS. Masturbators
Yeah,
is ORS.
masturbator, yeah.
Debaters is ERS.
RS, yeah.
And you can find it everywhere. They're so funny. It's your new favorite. And you'll be like an early like adopter too, because they only have this is their very first episode, but we're doing once a week for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And you are in for a treat, man.
It's going to be great.
It is so great. And so I love you all. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Banter
Next
Such.
week, I get to take over just Jingle Sember Spectacular.
It's Owen's topic.
And you're all in for a fucking treat.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about the new movie Violent Night
With Hopper from Stranger Things.
with Hopper from Stranger Things, and we're going to have Puck from Master and Debaters on with us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's going to be awesome. I love you, and I'm Brando.
And I'm Owen.
And until next time, may your week be filled with BS.
And no holiday cheer.
Oh.